How about Robert Williams III? This one's interesting, Gerald, because the Blazers get Grayson Allen. The Suns not only get RW3, aka Time Lord, but second-round picks in 2027 via Minnesota and Portland's owned second-round pick in 2028.
Yeah, so I think this is kind of what we were speaking about earlier in terms of maybe the returning player is not, it should be in consideration, but maybe the extra picks thrown on top of it are what make it worth your while if you're Phoenix. Robert Williams, we've talked about him a lot. Steven will talk about him more in depth in terms of what he brings to the team, but he is a good center. He's a good defensive center. He's a good rim runner, good screen setter, underrated kind of second side decision maker sort of thing in the short roll. And then you get 2 second-round picks out of it in years where you currently don't have second-round picks. I love Grayson. I'm kind of torn on this one because I think at some point with some of these trades, it'd be better just to keep him than to make some of these moves. But it's hard not to think about what Time Lord could be if he's healthy. And that's where I kind of fall into the trap because he has not been healthy. His career high for games in a season was 2021, 2022 when he played 61 games. And since then, it's been 35 games, 6 games, and 20 games this past season.
And what did the Boston Celtics do that season?
They won a championship.
They went to the championship. lost to Golden State, but he was significant in everything that they did that year. Yeah.
But they managed his minutes too. They weren't rolling him out there for a ton of time.
There you go, Eric. They had Al Horford. They had Al Horford to offset some of that. At that point in time, Al Horford was their starting center. Obviously, Porzingis wasn't with the Celtics at that time. So having a starting caliber center to where you can mitigate his minutes and therefore mitigate some of the injuries that he may come across when he's playing a high level minutes total, it shifts a lot. I don't know if the Suns are there with Nick Richards.
Yeah.
The dynamic is there in terms of one being a little bit more physical and the other one being able to do the skill things a little bit more. There's a synergy there, but if the synergy is there, but the health doesn't match, and then you just end up with the seconds and having Nick Richards be your starting center again for a majority of the season, like how would you feel about that? That's the question.
Right. I think for this situation, I'm actually in for a couple of different reasons. Number one, Robert Williams is on an expiring deal. And if he's healthy and you feel like with his medicals and you see him up close and personal, you can somewhat replicate that. Yeah. You could probably get him on a decent deal. Yeah. Also, you're getting these second round picks, which you can either then flip again and move up in this year's draft, or like you said, Gerald, keep them in years where you don't have that. For those reasons, I would do this because when Robert Williams is on the court, it's a fit. Yeah. If you can't stay on the court, it's only 1 year, and it's not like you're doing 1 year for Mitchell Robinson and not getting anything else. You're also getting 2 second-round picks that can either help you now or later. To me, this is the trade that I like the most out of all the trades we've discussed so far. Okay. I would say yes to this.
This is the type of trade that I think you consider depending on what the return is if you make a Kevin Durant move first. Because I think if you get a pick-heavy or a younger player-heavy package for KD, and it becomes abundantly clear that, like, yeah, we're going to try to make the playoffs, but we're probably not going to be a very competitive team, then I think Robert Williams is someone that's worth rolling the dice on for a longer contract like Grayson, especially if you get those picks in the process. I think if you're willing to take that step back, Robert Williams fits your timetable. But if you're in a position where you're a team that's trying to compete for playoffs and that is depending on him to be available, that's where it gets risky and kind of falls apart for me.
I think if you get a Chris Quinn, you get any of the coaches that we talked about yesterday, they're going to want a center that's cut from a similar cloth of Robert Williams in terms of not the tallest dude. He's only technically 6'9", but obviously like a 7'2" wingspan and a vertical. He plays a whole lot bigger than his size suggests. The versatility that you can play into with him on the court defensively and then offensively, all of the skill. You want somebody to make short roll reads, he does that. Backdoor cuts, all of the dribble handoff stuff, he does all of that in spades. He did that in spades with the Boston Celtics. He's a hand and glove fit for everything that they would want from that position and a change of pace from everything that Oso is and everything that Nick Richards is.
Can I say something so stupid?
What?
Imagine a healthy Time Lord in Frank Vogel's defense.
Oh, man. That would have been fun. They were borderline top 10.
Like, do you see how stupid that is that I'm thinking? Like, I'm literally sitting here and he's talking and I'm imagining it. I'm like, imagine if we had healthy Time Lord instead of Yusuf Nurkic. And Nurk was good that season. But, man.
Yeah.
That would have been crazy.
This is a dude that averaged 1.7 blocks in less than 18 minutes a game this year.
Yeah, he's
like,
nuts.
I know he only played 20 games, but that's special.
If he plays, you're going to win the minutes when he's on the court defensively.
Right.
Whether he's guarding the center or you put him on a non-shooter and he's providing rim protection, being a roamer, and just kind of controlling the defense from that respect. He's an impact defender. He was one of the best rim protectors this season.
Yeah.
He was like 97th percentile in that this season. Again,
Yeah.
that's nothing new to him at all.
It's a yes for me. I think even if you are still trying to compete,
it's worth it.
because you're still getting the second round picks, and maybe he is healthy for 30 of the most important games, which is a risk, but you've played that risk with much larger contracts. He's a smaller contract than Grayson as well, and then you get the picks.